On the news, Soludo visits scene of council secretariat attack, says Anambra won't bow to gunmen. Bandits invade housing estate in Kaduna, kidnap customs officer, 5 others. And Egwavon resigns as NFF sacks Eagles technical crew. We're glad to have you join us to news now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has paid a visit to the scene of an arson attack on the Secretariat of the Inewi South Local Government Area, Upo. The governor, who was accompanied by the State Commissioner of Police, Echeng, and other heads of security agencies, condemned the attack, describing it as mindless and very unfortunate. Soludo said key buildings within the local government, including the Education Office, Works Department, and the Traditional Rulers Building within the premises, were touched. He assured that these acts of criminality and lawlessness will not continue and urged the security agencies to go after the criminals and fish them out to face the law of the land. Unknown gunmen have attacked a low-cost housing estate in Kofa, Gayang, in Zaria local government area of Kaduna State, kidnapping 6 persons, including a customs officer and his son. The bandits invaded the estate on Wednesday night, shooting sporadically into the air, and moved straight to the residence of the customs officer, where they kidnapped him along with his son. According to eyewitnesses, the bandits threw the customs officer from his family house in Zaria City down to the estate. 4 other people within the estate were also abducted by the gunmen on their way out. This incident is coming 2 days after bandits attacked a Abuja-Kaduna bound train, killing 8 people while injuring several others, as well as kidnapping an unspecified number of people. The Kaduna State Governor Nasir Elrufai said he is frustrated and helpless with the current situation in the state. Addressing journalists, Elrufai said the terrorist hideouts should be bombed. The governor explained that the military knows the location of the bandits wreaking havoc in the state but was refusing to bomb their hideouts. He insisted that the camps and phone numbers of the terrorists were known by the military agencies, stressing that the Kaduna State was currently in a state of war. While still on insecurity, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Idris Wase, has berated service chiefs and the ministers of relevant agencies over their failure to honor the lawmakers' invitation. The lawmakers had summoned the service chiefs and ministers of relevant ministries and agencies to appear before it, pursuant to the motion of urgent national importance that was raised over the recent attacks on the nation's airport and railway in Kaduna State. The service chiefs, however, sent their representatives an act that infuriated the Deputy Speaker.
This situation is almost like a blackmail to the government. We are losing our only pride today that we can showcase. That critical infrastructure that was about to be being destroyed is one of the legacies of this administration. 150 people killed and 70 killed. So, is this instruction given or directive given just yesterday? Has there not been the Speaker directive? Have there not been commitment as to the days that this thing will end? We are willing to do this. Every cooperation, every assistance, I believe the President has given. And as a parliament, we have cooperated to ensure the safety of our people. If you can't fly, you can't walk on the road, you can't go by train, what is now? Where are we? Why would we dismiss ourselves? But let's come together and put our heads as people concerned, as Nigerians, in leadership.
Kaduna State and several other states in the northwest and north-central regions have suffered from banditry in recent years. While the bandits, who have since been declared terrorists by the government, initially attacked communities on the outskirts of the states, they have somewhat become brazen in their renewed assaults. Earlier in the month, they attacked the Kaduna airport before storming the Abuja-Kaduna rail line a few days later, forcing commuters to resort to road transportation, which was largely abandoned due to the rising security concerns in the state. To make sense of the situation, Kabiru Adamu, security expert, joins us now on the news. Thank you very much for your time. Now, when the country was still grappling with the news of the airport attack, the train attack happened, and now an estate, all in Kaduna State. Do we outrightly conclude that Kaduna State is under siege and needs urgent intervention from security agencies?
It appears so. No other state in the country is receiving the type of attacks or is the target of the kind of attack that Kaduna is at the moment. And so, yes, it would not be wrong to conclude that there appears to be some kind of targeting within Kaduna, and anything the country can do in terms of what the federal government and any other power or available resources that the country has to come to the aid of Kaduna, I think it's in order.
Now, President Buhari, in a recent meeting with the service chiefs, called for the implementation of strategic security gadgets, such as security cameras, among others. Now, is this good enough to prevent future attacks?
Unfortunately, it is just one of several other components that would meet the requirement of a good security system. That solution, which is surveillance, is just one layer of about 4 other layers of security that would be adequate. What would be better, if I am going to advise, is to go after the threat factor. In this instance, these are gunmen who we know. In your reports, you highlight them. Everybody who is studying development in the country know who they are. So anything short of going after them, either arresting them or killing them, as the case may be, it's just a temporary solution that will be foolhardy. Sensors, all sensors do is to help in detection. Now, if you detect and you're not able to either respond or to carry out an operation to take out the threat, then it's useless. So I honestly don't want to concentrate on a surveillance system. What is more important and what is required is taking out the threat itself. And we know what the threat is, so let's stop kidding ourselves. Let's just take them out.
All right, security expert Kabiru Adamu, thank you very much for your contribution. President Muhammadu Buhari has commissioned the new tower of the Bank of Industry, named Tower 2 building. The official commissioning of the 15-story building was held on Thursday in Abuja with various dignitaries in attendance. Speaking at the commissioning of the second tower of BOI building, President Buhari said the bank has continued to successfully execute its mandate as a policy institution of the federal government, extending single-digit interest rate loans to manufacturers.
Through Bank of Industry, this government extended the single-digit interest rate loans to manufacturers. In furtherance of this mandate, the Bank of Industry has disbursed over 1.4 trillion naira to over 4.2 million beneficiaries, including micro, small, medium, and large enterprises, creating over 9 million jobs from the inception of its administration in 2015 to date. In order to further enhance its capacity to impact the industrial sector on a transformational scale, I approved the issuance of a sovereign guarantee to help the bank raise funds in the Eurobond market. I'm glad to note that the bank has recently completed the transaction by raising up to 750 million euros from international investors.
The federal government is taking the fight against drug trafficking to a new dimension as it has given approval for the purchase of eye-scanning lie detectors and night vision goggles for the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA). This was among the 6 memos approved during the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. Our correspondent Kano has the details in this report.
Honoring the victims of Abuja-Kaduna rail attack was the first line of action at Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting. At the meeting, which was presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, officials present observed a minute of silence for the departed souls. Commencing the meeting, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, revealed that with the successes recorded in the arrest and prosecution of drug barons in Nigeria, FEC approved a total sum of 1 billion naira for the procurement of devices to aid the agency in making more arrests to rid the country of drug traffickers.
On that account, the Federal Executive Council approved the award of contract for the supply of eye-scanning lie detector by the National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency, and the Council had graciously approved the award of the contract for the supply of digital night vision goggles by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, in favor of Messiah's Analyst Integrated Solution Limited.
FEC also approved the sum of 29.2 billion naira for the completion and rehabilitation of some road projects in parts of the country. In his remark, the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, explained that the projects will help extend drainage works to accommodate increasing rainflow and flooding patterns.
Augmentation of the contract of the Zaria to Funtua section of the Zaria Sokoto Benin Kebbi Highway. The augmentation was for 9.446 billion, which will result in an increase of the contract price to a total of 16.924 billion.
On his part, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Niyi Adebayo, also revealed that the Council approved 1.5 billion naira to develop an initial 5-megawatt power plant to boost the plan for a textile and garment park.
Council also approved the construction of an access road and with associated drainage works from the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway through the garment park to textile and garment park, in favor of Methods Proportion Construction Works Limited. The objective of developing the special economic zones is to attract foreign investment, create employment, and expedite economic growth.
Adebayo also revealed that the contract is expected to be delivered within a period of 52 weeks and will generate employment for about 3,500 Nigerians in the short term and about 10,000 Nigerians in the long term. Kano, TV360, Nigeria.
The federal government says it can no longer deliver its promise to complete the Yakuta steel rolling mill in 2022 as earlier promised. The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Olamilekan Adegbite, will disclose this to State House correspondents during a special weekly briefing coordinated by the Presidential Communications team at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Blamed the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war for frustrating the project on several fronts. According to him, the federal government had before the pandemic successfully convinced Russia to complete the steel facility but could not proceed with the negotiations due to the unforeseeable circumstances.
Yakuta will, by the grace of God, will start an irreversible process. The problem with Yakuta is actually what you call force majeure. Nobody thought of the COVID. If not for the COVID, maybe we'll have Yakuta, because the plan was to deliver Yakuta this year, 2022. And I've said it before. When we came back from Russia, yes, I went to the public and said, look, we'll deliver Yakuta before the end of this tenure. And I pray that I'll have a chance to go back and apologize and explain what happened to the people before I leave office. Yes, it's through no fault of us. Everybody was gung-ho, we were ready to go. Unfortunately, COVID became a force majeure. What we are doing within the power of the federal government, within the power of our sector, is those people that we are training, we are going to empower them individually to be able to carry out that job. That's as far as we can do it.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says unity and tolerance are crucial values needed to safeguard peace and stability in a multi-religious society like Nigeria. Osinbajo gave the position at the presidential villa in Abuja when he received a delegation of imams, Islamic scholars and Muslim leaders. The delegation of more than 25 Islamic clerics, intellectuals and leaders of different groups called on the Vice President to initiate a program to promote understanding and unity in the country.
His Excellency, the Vice President, has always expressed his love for people, regardless of their religion, regardless of their ethnic disposition. And I think these leaders who have come together, who are the leaders of the various organizations and Muslim communities, have come to collaborate, to give advice, to give a lot of input into how we can continue to achieve good governance, the economic development, youth empowerment, and what have you, without being distracted by our religious differences.
Corrupt leaders need to be punished. People need to see corrupt people are punished. That will be the deterrence. But you hear a lot of corrupt leaders been accused or been arrested, but you don't hear any judgment. You don't see any punishment. And we are now appealing that this thing must be done publicly so that Nigerians will see it and engage any bad leader so that corruption will come to an end.
The need and the importance of engaging, consistent engagement with religious leaders, thus will create a very good atmosphere whereby the downtrodden people will be able to know what government is doing in terms of the issue of this insecurity, in terms of peaceful coexistence, and in terms of unity of the entire Nigerians.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, face masks now optional as federal government says COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted soon. Details of this story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has paid a visit to the scene of an arson attack on the Secretariat of the Inewi South local government area in Upo. The governor, who was accompanied by the State Commissioner of Police Echeng and other heads of security agencies, condemned the attack, describing it as mindless and very unfortunate. We also told you that a known gunman have again attacked a low-cost housing estate at Rofa Gayan in Zaria local government area of Kaduna State, kidnapping 6 persons, including a customs officer and his son. The bandits invaded the estate on Wednesday night, shooting sporadically into the air and moved straight to the residence of the customs officer where they kidnapped him along with his son. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. Nigeria has recorded 74 cases of COVID-19 in 8 states and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disclosed that the infections were recorded on March 29th and 30th. Lagos, the epicenter of the disease, logged 35 cases, followed by Bauchi and the FCT with 12 and 11 cases respectively. With no death recorded in the country, the nation's fatality number stands at 3,142. So far, Nigeria's infection tally is now 255,415. The Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 has said the use of face masks in open spaces is now optional as Nigerians continue to witness a drop in the number of daily COVID-19 cases. The chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said the committee had reviewed situations around the world and applied findings to the situation in Nigeria. Head of the Technical Secretariat was doubles as the Secretary of the PSC on COVID-19, Mukhtar Mohammed, also said the demand for proof of PCR tests from fully vaccinated travelers will be stopped. Meanwhile, the decision on the final relaxation of measures will be taken after Easter. Well, we'll take another breather here and return with more stories in business. To stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
Welcome back. Well, Bisola Adebayo now joins us for more stories and business. Over to you, Bisola.
Thank you very much, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has frozen the bank accounts of no fewer than over 30 illegal digital loan companies operating in Nigeria. This was reviewed by the Executive Vice Chairman of the Commission, Babatunde Irukera, at a media partnership meeting held in Lagos. According to Irukera, the Commission had engaged Google and Apple stores to take down some loan applications from their stores, adding that there were certain processes required for that to happen.
We welcome consumer lending, but only when done ethically. This is going to be one of our toughest regulatory interventions quite yet, because this is a very amorphous industry. No offices, you can't find the people, you can't see them. We're able to find one of the key players who we had been looking for, and they had moved and moved and moved. We had approached the court and gotten a warrant for almost 1 month. On the day we struck, we were clear that there were at least 5 lending apps that we issued orders to Google and Apple to take down, and that process is ongoing. I think we were able to get maybe 4 or 5 bank accounts held in 2 different banks that we entered orders to those banks to freeze. But between then and now, we have become aware of at least clearly that we can track another 30 to 40 apps. There are approximately 70-something to 90 apps operational in Nigeria. We have become aware of at least another 12 locations where they operate from. And we have entered orders freezing at least another 30 bank accounts.
We'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. Nigeria's equities market closed further in the green zone on Thursday as increased buy-side activities pushed prices higher. The market's benchmark performance indicator, that's the all-share index, increased by 0.13% from preceding day's low to close at 46.965 basis points. Likewise, the value of stocks listed on the NGX increased further by about 33 billion naira to close at 25.31 trillion naira. Let's look at stocks behind today's bullish round. Some names stood out like Maya PLC and Mansard Insurance that led the gainers pack as they recorded a combined 27 kobo increase. On the flip side, Northern Nigeria Flour Mill and Nemet led the losers counter as they also recorded a combined 1 naira 15 kobo loss. Our market summary sees a total volume of 256 million units of shares valued at 3.6 billion naira, exchanging hands in 4,227 deals. Well, we've got the chance to show how the market can be so versatile. We hope the stock stage another strong day tomorrow, being the end of the trading for the week, so that investors can have a great weekend and start the new month on a positive note. On the foreign scene, London's FTSE, Dow Jones and Nikkei. London's FTSE fell on Thursday, weighed down by weakness in consumer staples due to concerns linked to the war in Ukraine, although the benchmark index recorded its 6th consecutive quarter of gains. The Dow Jones also fell for a second day on Thursday as oil prices tumbled on reports that the Biden administration planned a significant release of U.S. oil reserves. That's why it's recording 0.56% decline. And Japan stocks Nikkei in the same vein is closing in the negative, recording a 0.73% decline. That's all on stock market report. Back to you, Folashade, for the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks, Sabisola. And on the foreign scene, Kenya's top court has ruled against President Uhuru Kenyatta's bid to change the constitution ahead of national elections scheduled to hold in August. Kenyatta had argued that the highly controversial plan, which he first proposed in 2018, would make politics more inclusive and help bring an end to cycles of post-election violence that have plagued the nation in recent years. However, the opposition had said that the changes are little more than a power grab on Kenyatta's part. Kenyatta has also been barred from seeking a third term as president by the country's term limits. And now to sports. Super Eagles coach Austin Eguavoen has resigned after the Nigerian seniors men's team failed to qualify for the 2022 FIFA World Cup scheduled for Qatar between November and December 2022. Nigeria on Tuesday played a 1-0 draw with Ghana at Mashoud Abiola National Stadium in Abuja, but could not go through due to an away goal deficit. Originally hired as a technical director for the Nigeria Football Federation, the NFF drafted in as the emergency replacement for Gernot Rohr when the NFF sacked the Franco-German in December 2021, barely 2 weeks before the commencement of the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. After the match, there have been increased calls for the president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, to also resign. To discuss this development, Kunle Sholaja, sports analyst, joins me on the news. Thank you very much for your time. Now, the Eagles failing to qualify for the World Cup was quite shocking. Coming from the loss and now Eguavoen's resignation, how would you react to the situation surrounding the country's senior men's national team? Would you say Eguavoen was too quick to throw in the towel?
Well, it was not too quick. I think he did the right thing. And this is a collective responsibility for every one of us. We cannot really say Eguavoen and Amunike were at fault, but I think it's a collective responsibility. In the first instance, I doubted the judgment of the NFF in appointing him as the head coach for the national team. Yes, he was a good player. He was a good coach in his first stint as the Nigerian national team coach, but he has stayed too long away from coaching. Since 2007, when he last coached the Super Eagles, he has been more or less of an administrator as a technical director in the NFF, and at one point he will occupy the same position with Insurance of Benin. So he has been cut off from the technicality of the game. So to have handed him that major assignment, an assignment that will determine whether we go to the zenith of football competition in the world or not, I think it was too big for him. Man to man, if you look at our players with that of Ghana, we were far, far better. But that game was won by the bench of the Ghanaians. Look at the strength of their technical crew. You have Anoto Addo, who was an assistant coach of the Borussia Dortmund in the German Bundesliga. So look at Houghton, his assistant or the technical advisor. All of them, they were very, very, the strength of their bench was far, far above our own. And that's why they knew they didn't have good players like us, but they were able to pull the strings from the bench and were able to neutralize the strength of the Nigerian team. And if you also look at the Nigerian technical bench, it was, it was bogged down with fixation. Any good coach, you have your plans for a match. Once you enter the field, after 20 minutes, if that plan is not working, you opt for your plan B. If plan B is not working, you opt for plan C. But in our own case, our technical bench just stuck with the plan they have. And look at the way Tunisia ousted us from the African Nations Cup. They read a depleted Tunisian side. They've read the strength of the Nigerian team, that the offensive of the Nigerian team was built mainly around Simon Moses. And all they did was just to get him policed. And that was it. And we never had an answer to say, okay, even when a player is so much marked, that player ought to be changing position. If Simon Moses was a left-sided player, then you move inward a little, or you move a little to the right.
For want of time now, Kule, sorry to interrupt you, but you spoke earlier about foreign coaches. Now, after the heavy criticism that trailed the coaching tactics of former coach Gennett Rohr, are we to expect a foreign coach as a replacement, or do you think the team should stick with a local coach?
I'm afraid we still have to go for a foreign coach, because if you look at the strength of a coach is determined by the result he gets on the field. And we know that the Nigerian League, even if you go to the managers of each club, they will tell you, we know how we win our matches. Matches are not won on the bench, but there are the under the table deals that determines winners of matches. So it is not the technical know-how of that coach. So they already know that. And that is the reason why, as at now, no Nigerian coach has gone abroad for any refresher course for a long time. They kept, and that explains why our domestic clubs don't do well in international competitions. The CAF Champions Leagues are on now in the final stages, no Nigerian team. The CAF Confederation Cup is going on, no Nigerian team. And that shows you the strength of the Nigerian coach. And that's why even those who are now assigned to handle our national team, we always opt for players abroad because the domestic league has been killed.
Well, indeed, Kunle Shalaja, many thanks for that analysis. Thank you very much for your time. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.